So what I wanted to do very quickly was to explain what we did. We went to the only place that we could go to that could help us document the number of people displaced as a result of the foreclosure crisis, which was to go to the actual court files maintained by the district courts where lenders bring these eviction cases. And until this year, the court records were not computerized, so that would have made this type of research much more difficult. And we were able to, with the assistance of the court, obtain a list of all of the eviction cases that were brought in the state. And from that list, we were able to distill down the foreclosure-related evictions. And I just want to walk you through some of the charts that we did. I just need people here to just step back a little bit because I want to, again, show some of the highlights of what we found. The first chart over here shows the evictions brought by municipality. And first of all, the total number of evictions brought was 2,338. And just about half of those evictions were brought against Providence residents.
In what time frame?
This is in the year 2008. So in 2008, 2,338 evictions were brought, and that translates into approximately 6,000 people statewide, 3,000 people in Providence alone. The second chart shows a breakdown of evictions brought by financial institution. Again, the bank that brought the most of these evictions is Deutsche Bank, bringing 460 evictions, about 20% of them. The next one largest was U.S. Bank, bringing 382, about 16% of them, and Wells Fargo bringing 262. Those three institutions alone account for almost half of the evictions that were filed. The other institutions that brought large numbers were Bank of America, HSBC Bank, Fannie Mae, Chase Bank, and Freddie Mac. Now, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have just changed their policies and are now no longer evicting tenants. They're allowing tenants to stay in foreclosed properties. And that's what is the answer here, because what we're seeing is large numbers of people getting displaced. If we turn to the charts on the right-hand side, you can see that on this map in the center, you see a very dark area right around Providence and in Central Falls. What that shows is the eviction rate. In other words, the number of households that have been evicted compared to the total number of households in census blocks. And in this particular census block, somewhere between 1 in 10 and 1 in 20 households have been evicted. That's a huge number. And we found the same thing in several neighborhoods in Providence and also in Central Falls. And what that means is that this crisis, that these evictions are disproportionately impacting communities of color. And that's important because that brings into question the legality of this action. Again, if I need the press to step back from this last chart here. We took a look at, again, the number of evictions that were brought, and we were able to identify the census block groups where the population was greater than 50% minority and greater than 20% minority, which is roughly the statewide average. The statewide average is actually a little lower. And more than 2/3 of the evictions have been brought in those communities. So that rate, again, raises concerns about this practice violating fair housing laws. And that's something we're going to be looking into some more, because if this practice is illegal, it should be stopped. This practice should be stopped anyway because of the severe impact that it's having on communities. In your press packets, we didn't blow up this particular chart, but you can see the number of vacant houses that this practice is creating. In Central Falls, 25% of the 200 houses on the town's vacant and abandoned property list were also on our list of evictions. In Providence, you can see in the West End that we identified 30 properties that that were once occupied by tenants that were foreclosed upon and now are vacant. And this is happening in other Providence neighborhoods as well. So these are some of the findings of this study, and as Mr. Nearing suggested, hopefully this will lead to certain changes. The intent of the study was to at least inform the public as to the consequences of the bank's actions. And now hopefully the public will understand that these actions are resulting in the displacement of thousands of Rhode Islanders of all colors and of all backgrounds.